For many people, Friday the 13th is an unlucky omen, but the day has a better meaning for area tattoo parlors.
Today is the most popular day of the year to get a tattoo.
The origins, ladies, for this is really difficult to pinpoint, from 18th century sailors to an enterprising Dallas tattoo studio looking to catch some attention.
So crazy, all I see is light.
The tradition is $13 tattoos on Fridays that fall on the 13th. We're not really sure how the tradition started.
I'm Oliver Peck from Elm Street Tattoo. I didn't invent getting a 13 tattoo on Friday the 13th, but I definitely made a mark on it. I definitely brought it to a new level.
It looks painful to me.
It gives me great pleasure to announce that Oliver Peck has achieved the new Guinness World Record for the most tattoos in 24 hours by an individual artist.
Refresh my memory where we're at.
First off, my whole life I've always been very enamored and interested in stuff surrounding superstitions. One of the meanings I learned about the number 13 is that people thought that number 13 was a number of bad luck. And there's stories as old as history itself that lead back telling us why the number 13 is bad luck.
This goes back to a group of holy warriors called the Knights Templar. They were a group of Christian warriors, and they got set up, and it was on Friday the 13th that they were basically ambushed and massacred and disbanded, and that was the end of the Knights Templar, who were predecessors to a lot of the Freemasonic people who basically have a lot of power in this world, you know, secret societies, whatever you want to call it.
When I started tattooing, the number 13 was very prevalent in a lot of flash that was on the walls and in a lot of tattoo photos, and you see old guys with tattoos would almost always have a 13 somewhere in their tattoo. So it's just really very interesting to me that there was this common repeating tattoo from flash that was drawn in the 20s to the 30s to the 40s to the 50s, from Hawaii to San Francisco to Los Angeles to New York to Florida. There's common themes throughout tattoo imagery. Everybody has a panther, everybody has an eagle, everybody has pinup girls and skulls and snakes. And there's always the number 13 sprinkled in there. You know, if you see a number in a tattoo flash, it's usually a number 13.
Western European tattoo culture comes from sailors returning from the sea. So you got people who would go out and sail with James Cook and people like that. And they would sail in areas like the Indies where there would be tattoo cultures. These sailors would kind of encounter this stuff, they would get a lot of tattoos, they would come home and sort of be kind of unemployable because they had too many. And then a lot of those people would then join circuses as the tattooed man, as the painted man, and it sort of became a thing that you had a lot of heavily tattooed ex-sailors working in the circus.
They didn't really mesh with society. Like, when sailors did come into port, they were known to be undesirable.
And within that culture, the number 13 and Friday the 13th became embraced by carnival people as lucky numbers and lucky days because they were so rejected by mainstream society. It was like, you know, if that's not a lucky day for you guys, then fuck you, that's a lucky day for us.
That's the underdog mentality, huh?
You like cancel out its power.
Bad luck recognizes other bad lucks. So
it's like a dark
yeah. So 13, the bad luck comes and sees my 13, goes, oh, bad luck's already there. So it moves off to the next guy. So it's actually good luck.
I'm just here for the creeper week, man.
When I first started tattooing, I was like, I want to do some sort of tattoo special. And Friday 13th was coming up, and I was like, I'm gonna do number 13 tattoos for 13 bucks. And at the time, the average tattoo was $40 to $100. So we did it, and I tattooed a handful of people all day long. Dozens of tattoos, when on a normal day, you do 2, 3, 4 tattoos. So, I mean, it's definitely was something there, even just the first day. So then, instantly, it was like, next year, we're gonna tell more people, we're gonna get out there. And within no time, there was more tattoos than could be done. I got my coworkers to do them with me, and I got more people to do them, and we made designs that people could pick from, and more designs people could pick from. And it grew really, really rapidly, and it became a thing. And then I decided that I was gonna do a 24-hour marathon and do as many tattoos as we could. All right, here it is. 24 hours, non-stop, small number 13, $13 a piece. On Friday 13, trying to get the Guinness World Record for the most tattoos done in one day. And at the time, this wasn't a record. This wasn't a previous record. So basically you're setting a new record.
Once he makes up his mind that he's gonna do something, whether it's eat spaghetti for lunch or see the Simpsons movie at 12 in the afternoon, that's happening.
We did hundreds of tattoos. We had guest tattooers come from other places to work too, so we could have people working in shifts and have people taking turns, and just so we could do as many tattoos as possible.
Now for him, he just can't not do it.
The way we do it is it's $13 for the tattoo. That's the number of bad luck. The flip side of the coin, the duality, we do a $7 tip for good luck.
I said yes, I didn't know what I was getting into. I thought 24 hours, it's really not 24 hours, it's really 24 hours, Holmes.
On any given Friday the 13th, 10 to 12 artists working elbow to elbow with hundreds of people waiting to get tattooed, and you add those people getting tattooed plus all the workers it needs to make happen.
People that run the paperwork, people that run the stencils, people that run the customers coming in and out.
You know, it's Friday the 13th. It's a day deemed unlucky by many people. Well, apparently it's a great time to get a tattoo.
Where did you get this?
Because it's Friday the 13th, so it's tradition. I gotta do it, man. Definitely.
Am I gonna cry?
Yes.
My name is Keith Underwood. I own the Austin Tattoo Company here in Austin, Texas. So we do a Friday the 13th celebration here. I think the first time I'd ever done 100 tattoos in any 24-hour period was at Elm Street in Dallas at Friday the 13th, and I couldn't fucking believe it. Just how many people he had coming in to do this, who were sitting outside for hours and hours. I mean, they must have done 400 or 500 tattoos.
Who's next, who's next, who's next? And a lot of these tattooers ended up going back to their cities and doing it themselves the next Friday 13th.
We would encourage other people like, oh, you should go back home and do it at your shop. You know what I mean? Like, everyone should do it, you know? And I think it's just really grown from that into a non-official tattoo holiday.
And I've seen it evolve from Elm Street Tattoo to all over the world. People are getting 13s and people run the events and people use the sheets.
It's Friday the 13th at All Is One Tattoo in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Where I was at in California, this guy said, are you guys doing 13 tattoos? We said no. The guy got so angry, he said, what do you mean no? Every shop in the world has to do 13s on Friday the 13th. And I thought about you. I was like, fucking Oliver, man. And he was adamant about it. He was like dead serious, this dude's telling me.
It's developed into a craze and it's stuck.
People just coming in like fucking ants, you know, just crawling all over each other to get these fucking little tattoos.
Only 13 tattoos get done on Friday the 13th. Has to have a 13 in it or you don't do it.
He'd do like 83 and I'd do like 67. We'd be like, Jesus, so many tattoos got done tonight. Damn, Mark did 25 and now they're doing like fucking 1,500 of them in 24 hours and shit. It's fucking crazy.
We're not taking any more appointments as of right now until we get through all the tattoos that we've taken so that the people that have actually paid.
Well, it used to be they were doing it because of the spirit of the thing. And the fucking, now every goddamn fucking tattoo shop in the fucking world does it now. And it's, the spirit of it is completely lost on most of them. The point of it wasn't to try and do cheap tattoos. It wasn't for fucking cheapskates to get a fucking cheap tattoo. It's like this fucking cool thing that's like, oh man, you got one too. Which one did you get? Like, it was like being part of a fun fucking club, you know?
Why wouldn't other shops try and jump on board? Because it's a marketing plan, it's a business model, it's an idea that is very easy to replicate, especially if you can get your hands on the sheets. We have a sheet that's gonna be shown out of Jonathan Shaw's collection. It's like from the 1920s, and you know, there's 13s on there. Like, we're coming up on 100 years, and that's the same picture that we're putting on another person. You know, that's the same picture that people are lining up for, the same basic idea.
I hope this will symbolize good luck for me, so we'll see.
See, that's what happens. That's what happens after being awake for like 60 hours. My God.
At some point, somebody quoted something like, yeah, you want to do $20 tattoos, why don't you go down and see Oliver at Elm Street? I'm sure he could use some more help. So there's a lot of this hate about $20 tattoos, or in Oliver's case, 13 and a $7 tip, that it was a gimmick and it was ruining things, and tattooing should be taken seriously, like it's some sort of fucking high art.
I mean, I don't consider it a high art either, you know, but I've been tattooing almost 50 years, and, you know, I'm kind of from a older school generation, most of these guys, you know, so you see, you know, tattoo shops with like people lined up around the block, you know, wanting to get their little cheap mark, you know, which I'm sure, you know, it certainly has its place.
I don't know if there's any way to even find a real count, but there are hundreds of tattoo shops all around the country that every Friday the 13th, it is their biggest day of the year as business.
Body Graphics Tattoo has 3 sheets to choose from.
Atlanta Inc. is one of innumerable tattoo parlors across Atlanta.
Some consider the day unlucky, but it's one of the busiest of the year for tattoo parlors.
The whole city tends to come out. It's crazy, it's madness. And boy, do they show up.
The line was so long, I did not have time to wait.
There's a very primitive tribal element to tattooing where people, they don't really so much care about the art or the aesthetic of the tattoo as much as they just want to get that mark on their body.
Got it!
It's kind of ingrained in the collective DNA of human beings to want to just mark themselves in some way.
That's a party area. Gotta do the party school. We all went down there, we all got the bones, and they like got it like on their ankle or like someplace like less like obvious, and I was like, bam, right here on my chest. For me, because there is like this superstition about like the number 13 to where it doesn't bring me bad luck, because I already kind of feel like I already have bad luck. So it was almost like if I put it right here, it kind of cancels it out.
I don't know the roots of the tradition. Thank you to whoever started it. I appreciate it.
The best party ever!
Around 2007, one day we're sitting at the print shop and Oliver's like, I want to do it, man. I want to get Guinness there. And I'm like, man, it's impossible. There is no way. He's like, there's a way. And if you know Oliver.
Yeah, 2008 is when Guinness came out and officiated the whole event. That was, at the time, was the biggest Friday 13 event we'd ever had. And
if you do not care who tattoos you, go on the other side and stand in the other line. That is all.
Other tattooers were tattooing as well, and it was just a huge party, and it's a huge blowout.
I think it's fantastic, man, and if anybody could do it, it's Oliver Peck, and it's back in Texas, man, bringing the belt back to Texas.
We've been sitting over here backing him up pretty steady, too.
Yeah! All right! Oh, yay! The following concerns a monumental achievement in the desecration of one's flesh. 415!
It gives me great pleasure to announce that Oliver Peck, with the help of his incredibly talented staff, has achieved the new Guinness World Record for the most tattoos in 24 hours by an individual artist. Job very well done, Oliver. Congratulations.
This is the greatest!
I love it, dude. I can't believe he did that. I'm so proud of him.
Since '94, I've tattooed number 13s on every Friday 13th that's happened since. And since 2001, we've done a 24-hour marathon every Friday 13th since.
Yeah, notarize that shit!
I've got who knows how many number 13s tattooed on me. I've been getting at least one, if not more than 113 tattooed on me every Friday 13th for 20 plus years. So I have dozens and dozens of them. The one on my neck I did get because of a Johnny Cash song that was written by Glenn Danzig, and the name of the song is just called 13, and the line in the song says, "Bad luck wind been blowing at my back."
Bad luck wind been blowing at my back.
I got the number 13 tattooed on my neck.
Got the number 13 tattooed on my neck.
And it just sounds really, really fucking tough when Johnny Cash says it.
When I first went to California, and I went to Orange County, long-haired, red Vans, 13 on my neck, everybody was like, hey man, you go to California, you gotta be careful.
Yeah, that was definitely a real thing. In early 90s, that was serious business, man. Like, yeah, that was a dangerous time to be walking around. Like, I'll just put it to you this way, Holmes. Like, if you came into our circle and you had anything that even resembled something like that, we were gonna pull it to your attention, and we're gonna find out where you got it, who put it on you. You know what I mean? If it didn't add up right, maybe you got it taken off that day. Buck knife and a fucking, you know. it was coming off.
The number 13 to a gang member, you have to earn this number. So if you have a tattoo, you have to earn the tattoo. You cannot just go into a tattoo place and say, let me have the number 13 on my arm. No, you have to do certain things for that group or that gang or that clique. And the number 13 to them, it's a number that when you are at the elementary level of gang participation, they say that the number 13 is the 13th letter of the alphabet, which means M, which means Mexican. Gang member says this is the number 13, and they'll spell it out, 13. They'll do the Roman numerals. Now what they're doing is they're using the Nahua language, which is each one of these sticks signifies 5 years. So 5, 10, 11, 12, 13. If you look at any watch, the watch has 12 hours. So for a gang member, the number 12 is a number of reality, but when you add the one more, that's the number 13, that's a metaphysical number, which means that's a transformation number, it's a number of change, because we're always becoming.
12 is a sacred number in a lot of cultures. And then you'd have the number 13, which was, I guess you would say it was a profane number in the context of sacred numerology.
Yes, 13 is taking it to that next level of transformation, of becoming other. It's a step into the next dimension of reality. The 22 cards are what we call the major arcana, and 13 is a big part of the major arcana, generally called death. It's a place of shedding all that you don't need anymore and stepping into a new realization of yourself.
Another thing about the number 13, the US dollar. The US dollar, when you open up the dollar, 13 olives, 13 arrows. The pyramid in the back of the dollar bill has 13 steps.
You have Friday the 13th, the movie, one of the most famous horror movies of all time.
I think there was even a band back in the 60s, 13th floor elevator.
Even connecting one to the other, you know how important 13 has either crossed the boundaries or crossed the borders of the way that we live.
Even thinking about buildings that are built without a 13th floor.
There it is. Where's the 13? I live on the 13th floor, but they call it the 14th floor.
They'll just leave the number 13 off because it's that frightening to them. Architects, the people who are designing the elevator, right? You go 11, 12, 14, it's a thing.
I'm staying at a hotel right now. There's no 13th floor because of superstition. But come on, man, the people on the 14th floor, you know what floor you're really on.
Us in the tattoo community, we haven't really claimed it as ours. We just embraced it as a tradition. All these cultures have embraced the number 13 in different ways, whether it be gangsters from LA or motorcycle gangs from all over the country, or whether it be sailors from the early 1900s. You know, they have this common thing that is reoccurring throughout history.
The number 13 is a Gnostic number. It's one of the goddesses. As a matter of fact, it's the goddess of sin and the goddess of adultery.
Our culture fears divine femininity and magic and witchiness. I think that all of the ways that this number came to symbolize the forbidden, the taboo, darkness, fear, something beyond the pale.
He gave me that Friday the 13th thing back again a little bit, because these people here, like when you are in the South, there's a lot still of that mumbo jumbo shit going on left and right. And there is more than you think, like voodoo types of things. And it's the interesting stuff.
You know, this is all stuff that predates back to the First World War and the Second World War, and it's all bound on superstition. And as I started learning about tattooing and tattoo imagery, I learned that a lot of these images that you just see as a bird have more meaning. And the people that kind of founded the traditions of getting tattooed in America were all sailors and were getting tattooed for superstitious reasons. You know, you get a bird tattooed on you when you're out in the sea, and the first sign that you see that you're near land is you see birds flying. So you know that land is close. So it's a symbol of coming home. It's a symbol of completing a journey. It's a symbol of survival.
I don't think I'm a superstitious person, but at the same time, I also burn like lavender and I burn cedarwood for like good energy, so.
The older I get, the more superstitious I get. Some of them are just made up in my head.
I'm kind of like ultra rationalist, ultra atheist in my kind of surface level philosophy and the way that I consciously approach the world. Having said that, I'm not sure I was superstitious when I was young, but I think I've become more superstitious as I got older. I mean, I've been touring since I was 16, and I've been touring hard for longer than a decade now, you know, like full time. The fact that you're in a different place, surrounded by different people every single day, makes you kind of hold on to the regular things in a way. I have little rituals, and I collect St. Christopher medals. I'm always wearing one of those. And I'm into my 13s and stuff as well. That's part of it. You've got to hang on to something because you're in a different place every day. And if it can't be a place or a certain set of people, then it might become a certain behavior or a certain idea.
Pirate shit. That's what we are. We're the last pirates. And people, that's why a tattoo shop should look like this tattoo shop. That's why a tattoo shop should not be some gray nail studio or something. People want to go home and like remember that they went on an adventure. Motherfucker had one leg, golden teeth. You know, that's who we are. That's who we are. Instead of like, oh, would you like to persuade a tattoo sir? Like, could you go in for a seeing and maybe we get a consultation? Fuck all that shit. Yes, come in, walk in, sit down, get tattooed, puke if you want, and get the fuck out of here again. Like, that's how it was done.
I thought leaving my neighborhood and getting into like mainstream society and trying to live a decent life, I was gonna be around a bunch of squares and lames. And so like to find this whole group of homeboys that are like, wow, I'm like, orale, homie, I made it, I'm here, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's family to me, you know? I've always been a member of something my whole life since I can think back, you know? Gang member at 10, like, I've always been a member of something. So when I let that life go, it's kind of sad in a way, you know what I mean? And then to find a whole new gang was kind of like, oh man, let's do this. So it's been good for me.
I love the culture, I love the history, I like being a part of something that's bigger than me, I like the bonds.
When you look at the number 13 and what he's doing, what Oliver's doing, you know, bringing the community together over a concept of a number and making it grow where people can come and commune and have a laugh and enjoy themselves and put it together. I'm all for that. It's communal. That's who we are. We like to share. So his concept of sharing and sharing his artistry, because he's well known and respected, then to me, it's a blessing. It's a blessing that he says, on this day, I'm gonna bring anybody that wants to come through my door, and what I'm going to do, I'm gonna give you a gift. I'm not gonna give you a money gift, but I'm gonna give you a gift that you can carry till the day you die.
I think it's cool that he's got his own little legacy.
I think he is a living embodiment of a lot of tattoo tradition.
People have photo albums, people have scrapbooks, people have pictures pinned to their refrigerator. People like us have tattoos.
We all communicate. Hair, beards, Roman sandals, cowboy boots, no matter what. We all want to tell a little bit of who we are. Now these things, these poor man jewelry, tells you exactly who you are. You just have to take time and learn how to read it.
It's like an inside joke, I think. You know what I mean? I honestly, I think you made it up, Holmes, because I honestly don't know where that originated in the tattoo world.
They put on AC/DC at 12 o'clock and this fucking thing just hammered through the whole place and like made my ears go woo, woo, woo.
Now they're just kind of like, you know, moths attracted to this, you know, it's like, you know, you can hear fucking jungle drums, you know, when they're lining up for that fucking Friday the 13th rite of passage, you know, it's a ritual.
In between the main set and the encore, he tattooed that date on me, which is number 13.
This wasn't like on his flash sheet that year, but I just kind of wanted something different. I told him what it was, and he like sketched it out. It would eventually show up on some flash stuff.
He has an internal drive to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. I think it was the acid that he did when he was younger.
You know, some of the most rational people have extremely tightly held superstitious beliefs.
You get any of that?
You got it all, right? Damn it, I forgot to record. You're supposed to put it on.